Well, welcome to the Spiritual Principles Made Practical podcast. Today, in my my unending quest to master creation and understand, its various aspects, we're going to dig into the creation of challenging people and situations in my life. Now, of course, I know I'm the only one that has challenging situations in their life, right? But one thing that really helps me a lot is when I realize that I created those situations, understand how I created those situations, and understand why I created those situations, and understand what I want my response to those situations to be. And if I can do that, then the whole sort of challenge of it all is a much more enjoyable experience, and still gives me the opportunity to experience accepting more of myself, which is what spiritual growth is, right? So I've got all the abilities to rise to the challenges that I created, and the more that I can look at it that way, instead of moaning and groaning, it's like, oh no, another problem. God, that's all I need is another problem. It's like, well, yeah, it is all you need because that's what you created for yourself, and you did, you know. And so in my family, I've got some great examples. So I have one family member who's opted out of the whole thing, said, you know what, I don't want the ups and downs as much as I can do it. I just want to, coast and not participate too much in what goes on. And you know what? I get it. I get it, right? Because it's like, getting out there and mixing it up, can be hard and difficult, and it could also be rewarding and joyful. It could be all kinds of things. But, in the end of the day, we choose how much contrast we want in our life, right? So we choose whether or not we want huge highs and lows. We would choose whether we want to take on huge goals. We choose whether or not we want to just take it easy and put our feet up to the extent we can. We choose the whole banana, right? And then we create based on our will, right? So the will is the choice, right? I will my mind to create this kind of circumstances, and I choose to do that. And then I have another family member that uh, uh, and so it's important for me, like in the aspect of being one, I need to digress a bit, is that part of me wants to be like that family member that just, wants to coast and have it easy. And so I want parts of my life to be like his life, right? Where it just doesn't work, just hangs out, doesn't really go anywhere, doesn't really do anything, not much, and but it's easy, and watch TV. So and you know what? That's part of me, right? So I am all that exists, right? And so if I'm all that exists, then I'm him, and that's part of me. And then another part of me is another family member who has huge goals and aspirations, and is just severely challenged, and continues to keep at it. Well, that's me too, right? So, I mean, um, I mean, taking on the goal of advancing win-win thinking to be the dominant thinking in the world is a pretty big challenge. It's a pretty big bite, right? And I have to um, when I meditated on, well, what growth is required of me to achieve that goal, and it very clearly comes back is that accepting and relating to and identifying being one with all things, and that is like loud and clear. I get that, okay, and so I need to, and so part of this podcast is that um, effort, if you will, to understand that these other people are really just me, right? I'm all that there is, and all of the people that exist are me. And so this family member that's really, uh, picked a huge challenge in their life, and is really um, struggling to rise to the occasion and is uh, working hard at it and not giving up, and it's like, yep, that's me. I've picked this really challenging goal, and I'm working hard on it and I'm not giving it up. But one of the things that's really cool that I'm really starting to appreciate and understand more is that, for years I've been saying that, when I heal myself, I heal the world, and that, the family members that I love and care for, if I have to heal the whole world to help them, then that's what I'm going to do. And so I've had those thoughts for a long time. But now it's more a case of I'm understanding in greater detail how that works, right? So, if I'm at peace with uh, my family member who I'll term what he does as semi-permanent rest period. Right? So if I want to be in semi-permanent rest period, and just, kick up and watch TV and have a couple of drinks and relax and just not worry about a thing and not address a single thing, then you know what? That's cool, and that's good, and I can do that, right? And I can have my rest period. And then I can also have these exhilarating periods, like, another family member. And the facts is that the more that I rise to the occasion, right, of uh, advancing win-win thinking in the world, uh, then the more that I'm healing myself, because I'm experiencing more of what it is to be one, and and that rising to the occasion and accepting myself more fully uh, results in that other family member accepting themselves more fully, and being more determined than ever, and experiencing, more joy of making headway on the big goals and stuff. So I can see that, I've created myself in the form of these other people, and that when I solve my problems, their problems will be solved because they are me, and the challenges and stuff. And then I'll decide, if I want to take on new challenges or not. But it's really, helpful for me to understand it, and it's just a much nicer way of being in the world, is to understand that, absolutely and without doubt, that everybody else is part of me, and the more that I rise to my challenges and set and fix my problems and so on, the more that I'll see that reflected in other people, because it's really just me. All those other people are really just me, and that's the gist of this podcast, is to um, more fervently and deeply affirm and relate to the fact that those family members are really part of me, and that absolutely, as I rise to my challenges and stuff, it I see, those, and accept more of myself, and more of the joy that I am. I'll see that in these family members, because they're me, and there's no way that I can heal myself without healing the part of myself that historically I've thought of as other people. And that's the shift that's going on now, right? I'm not seeing my family members as other people. I'm seeing them as part of me, and I'm understanding in greater detail how, by healing myself, they get healed too, because they are me. And so that's cool. That's cool, And so I know exactly what to do to be of the greatest benefit to myself and other people. And so one of the things is advancing win-win solutions in the world. And so one of the things that I'm doing right now, is I'm sending out the offer to you, that if you have a win-win solution that you'd like to share, because example is the most powerful form of leadership, right? And if you have a win-win solution that you'd like to share, that you feel would be inspiring and maybe motivate other people to find and implement win-win solutions too, contact me, and we'll do a podcast just centered on your win-win solution. And because that's part of, like, my thing in life, right? So it's like, it would be awesome, right? I mean, we would all have like a greater acceptance of being one with all things and doing that. So please, please, please contact me with your win-win solutions, and I'll, sort of start with, mine and realizing that absolutely. As I move forward and advancing win-win thinking, I'm experiencing more of being one and I'm healing myself and I've got more energy and enthusiasm. And I can see that energy and enthusiasm being reflected in my family members and other people and stuff. So I can see that my progress is healing other people, right? I can see it in the increased joy and possibility that they experience, right? Because that's me, they're me, right? And so that's a win-win situation. When I'm all that exists, everything has to be a win-win solution because I'm all there is, right? And so if I'm doing better, everybody's doing better because I am everybody. And increasingly, I'm able to relate to that. It makes sense to me, and I'm happy about it, and that's good. So, uh, so speaking to part of me that appears to me as being you, when really you're just part of me, contact me with your win-win solutions, and let's do a podcast, and let's inspire all those parts of ourselves that are out there in the world to be inspired and benefit and emulate our example of identifying and sharing and inspiring others with win-win solutions. So that'll be awesome. And so this is good, sort of another piece of accepting all that is. And it's great, So uh, I wrote a book on empathy, and this is uh, taking that empathy a little bit further, which is good, right? So anyway, that's the podcast for this morning, and understand that and for me, it's I start with what I care with most, and I care about my family members who I love and care for, and I just to be able to understand more specifically and clearly and relate more fully to the fact that the particulars, right? The particulars of how when I heal myself, I'm healing them because they're part of me. Uh, when I relate to that more fully, it's like, oh man, what joy is there in that? Because it's always been so up until now, so frustrating is that, oh, well, I want to help them, but I don't know what to do. Well, now I know what to do. And now that I know what to do is I know how to look for the fact that it's working and to recognize the fact that what I'm doing is working in caring for and supporting my family members. And ultimately, it goes out because the whole world is my family members, right? If I'm one with all things, then everybody is my family member. All right. More insights, more joy, more acceptance, more willingness and ability to understand that uh, all of the challenges in my life I created, and I created so that I could experience just sort of the magnificence I have in my ability to create, right? And to experience things and stuff. And that other people are me in that respect. So that they have parts of me that want to be on permanent vacation, don't want to put my feet up and not do another thing, just lay out there in the sunshine on the reclining lounge and just soak it all in. And you know what? I do that. I did it yesterday and I'll probably do it again today, right? It's and it just feels like a permanent vacation. And then there's also, part of me that, wants to dig in there and mix it up and accept more of what I am and be excited that, what, I've uncovered another way that I can move forward in accepting being one with all things and have that be the dominant thinking in the world. And when it's the dominant thinking in my world, it's a dominant thinking in the world because I am the world, right? And so, and to mix that up and put that out there. And so anyway, it's understanding and appreciating the challenges that I've created and that I haven't created, both, right? For me, I mean, one of the things I created is I have enough money that I can, do what I want with my time. I'm not, paycheck to paycheck where I've got to, uh, you know, sell my time for money to make sure there's dinner on the table tonight, and so I've created that for myself as well, and I'm grateful for that, and it gives me more time to reflect on this and record these podcasts and do other stuff, and paradoxically I'll end up having more money than ever doing it this way, but anyway, that's another story for another time, but I'm working on that too. So anyway, just enjoy the challenges, try to, like with this one family member, it's like, yeah, okay, I get it. That's me. That's me challenging myself. And the more that I challenge myself, the more I'll heal that family member as I heal myself and rise to um, ac acceptance of who I am, and because I have all the talent necessary to achieve all the goals and challenges I want, including making win-win thinking the dominant thinking in the world. I've got what it takes. You've got what it takes. There's not, we're all one, right? So if I have if I have all the talents necessary to achieve everything that I want, so do you because you're part of me and I'm part of you. So um, it's all good. Let's enjoy accepting more and more of our magnificence in uh, rising to the challenges that we've created in our life, and let's make it as joyful an experience as we can, and as I do that, you will too, because we're one. So there. Okay, I offer thought coaching if that's something that you're interested in. Just like if you want to share your win-win experience, contact me at scottfriedman40@gmail.com. That's ScottFriedman40@gmail.com. My books are available on Amazon. You can find them, links to them, on my website, www.thoughtcoachingbyscott.com. All right, rock and roll. So we are one, and we're going out and being more accepting of the challenges that we've created and the abilities that we have to tap into, to rise to those challenges, to meet those challenges, and to experience the joy of victory and the agony of defeat along the way, and understand that the level of joy and agony that we pick is our choice, and that and if we have really big goals, then we have really big goals, and if we don't, then we don't, and it doesn't really matter. It's our choice, and we're free to choose whatever we want in that regard. All right, this has been fun. Uh, uh, Contact me about sharing your win-win experience. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, bye for now.